Hi, this is Joe at Macro Builders. I want to show you a really cool application I wrote in Excel. So this client came to me and they produce a lot of PowerPoint presentations. Their businesses, they go out and survey employees at their clients, for things like satisfaction, fulfillment, things like that. And then they consolidate all that information and give it back to the clients on different cuts, so it might be cuts on demographics, the age of the employees, you know, a million different ways you can cut the data. And so each one of those ways they cut the data, they have a standard PowerPoint presentation they stick the information in. So right now they would end up with these huge tables, and I'll show you what the table looks like. The survey tables are large. They're like, this one's about 4,000 rows, and it goes over to like AG as far as the size. So they get this data back, they compile it, and then a person by hand would build, could be between 100 and 160 slide deck of all that information. So if you have, if you do a survey for a large company, maybe each division, each site, the headquarters, even the departments want their own little pitch, which shows them, what the results are for their department versus benchmarks of the company, things like that. So they were spending a lot of time building these things, and it might take as much as a week to build one of these decks. So they wanted a way to automate that, so that, because the consultants are the guys building the decks and they're spending more time building the decks than consulting. So they wanted to streamline that. So they came to me with this potential application and said, how can you automate it? So this is my cut of it, and basically what I do is read in the survey. You can see there's buttons for everything. You read in the survey. There's a questionnaire, and that questionnaire helps drive the cut of the data that you want to look at. And then you build the charts in Excel, and then you export the charts. And then there's another one for demographics over here on the right. So I'll show you my approach was, when you put something like this together, you want, versatility, and you don't want to hard code the actual slide production, because if they change a slide, that means you have to go and change the production. So if I show you one of the outputs, which are these green tabs at the bottom, if I look at the main deck one, my approach was to build an interpreter. So over here on the right are the types of decks and information to build the chart and to export it to PowerPoint. So when you run the macro, it takes this information on the left, queries based on the questionnaire and the data, and it comes up with the results, which it puts in this green section, and the green section drives a chart. So some of them are charts, some of them are text, like tables, and then that can be exported to the PowerPoint based on this interpreter. So I have an interpreter that builds these, and then I have another interpreter which then exports the information to PowerPoint. Now the client also wanted the PowerPoint to be editable, so he didn't want the pictures going over as images. He wanted them going over as editable entities. So if they're a bar chart or a table or just text, that they could go in and edit the slide deck to customize it for that customer. So it's pretty cool. Remember that it took about a week for them to build a slide deck using the old methods. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it right now so you can see how fast it is. So I go over here and I press the button, and you can see it goes through. You notice the colors are changing. You have complete control for the vertical bar charts on the color gradients, and the color gradients aren't that good here. I can change them and show you, how easy it is. I'll do that in a future presentation. So now it's erasing some of the other slides, and it goes through and fills it out. You can see how quick it is. So each one of these represents a slide on the PowerPoint deck. And I think it's just starting to wind up, and it's done. So that's a week's worth of work done in less than a minute. So you can go back over to the deck, and you can see that here are the different charts that were made. So it's pretty cool. It's easy to build for different types of slides that you might have that you need in your deck. And then you can also go back and add slides. Like if you insert a slide, you can go in there and change the interpreter code so that you would have you could put an additional slide in, as long as it follows the rules of the 25 slides or so that we have here. So anyway, this is Joe at Macro Builders. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have something similar, or you have a challenge that you have with trying to automate something either in Excel or in PowerPoint or even Word, just drop me an email and we can start talking. Thanks, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.